Sean Snow from Capcom Unity, and I have a probably our most important guest of the day, I would say.
I wouldn't go that far. Are you sure we're live? There's nothing on the stream down there. Or over there.
We're live.
Okay. I'm trusting you.
So, tell us a little bit about who you are. If these guys don't recognize you, I hope they recognize you, but if not.
My name is Svensson. I am corporate officer and senior vice president at Capcom Entertainment. So I basically run all sales, marketing, business development, and operations for North and South America.
Pretty crazy. So I figured, since we have a man of such high importance, we should turn this into an Ask Capcom Live of E3.
Yeah, that was kind of the goal.
All right. So before we start answering questions, I see they're already starting to roll in a little bit here. I was figuring maybe you could tell us a little bit about E3, what you've seen at the show and things like that. Have you been around to see much?
I have seen very little. Obviously, I was in all the briefings.
Right.
I had some meetings with, all the people you might expect me to have meetings with.
Okay.
You know,
I can think of a few.
I did get a little bit of time to look at a couple things, and I'll tell you something that surprised me was Prey 2.
You know, I saw that trailer right before I came out here, and they did a really nice job with that.
I got in behind closed doors to see a little bit of their sort of managed presentation, which was very impressive to me. Very impressive. I thought that was really cool. So, and other than that, you know, I've taken a stroll through a couple of booths here and there. Mostly I've been in back-to-back meetings, but Prey 2 was the thing that sort of jumped out at me as super awesome. Battlefield 3, super awesome.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of about it that sort of jumped out at me as that I saw. And I want to clarify, I didn't see a ton.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
We've been busy working, I suppose, right?
Yeah.
So, actually, I did have a couple questions. Did you get a chance to see some of the new hardware, like the PS Vita or the, I'm going to call it the PSV, it's easier, or the Wii U?
Yes, and although in the case of Vita, I'd seen it previously before the show.
Of course.
But, and actually literally after this session, I'm going to meet with Sony and have a little me time with some of their content behind closed doors.
Very cool.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. On Wii U, I did manage to get into the Nintendo booth briefly and take a look at it. It's interesting. It's definitely cool. You know, we're already noodling ideas for how we should attack
make use of it. Yeah.
And you know, more news to come on that front somewhere down the line.
Really cool. So, any particular highlights from our booth? I mean, you've been on the inside mostly, right?
I've mostly been on the inside, but I mean, the two things that are, there are lots of things that are awesome, but the things that seem to be getting the biggest positive response are Ashura's Wrath, which has a ton of award nominations and award winnings.
Yeah, didn't we win like Best Action Game already for GamePro?
A couple, yeah, that's one. There's a couple of Best Action Game, and you know, when you think of what's out there for Best Action Game, Jesus, really?
Yeah.
Uncharted 3 and
this is cool.
There's some amazing stuff out there. So for it to start be getting these accolades was really gratifying. Street Fighter 3 Online Edition seems to be getting a ton of love from the hardcore fans. I was just out talking to Keats from SRK.
Yeah.
You know, they were gushing with how happy they are with how we've attacked this, and want us to see us doing all of our fighting games with sort of this feature set. Street Fighter Cross Tekken obviously has, I think, probably the biggest crowds in the booth. You know, we have a whole six setups plus a stage on the other side.
Yeah,
that's got huge crowds the entire time we've been open.
I tried to do a little booth tour and actually get through some of that crowd, and it took me a while.
Yeah. Raccoon City has a line wrapping around the booth for people to get a shot to play in 4-player multiplayer mode. So it's you know, a lot of positive things coming out of it.
Awesome. So you want to answer some questions?
Yeah, why don't we do that?
All right. So this is the one that you're probably going to hate me for, because even I'm curious. Where's Monster Hunter? Everybody's asking. It's actually one of the first questions here.
You know, every single time we do an Ask Capcom, You always ask me, and the fans always ask, what's happening with Monster Hunter?
I am a Monster Hunter. So
you know, I want to tell you what we're doing with Monster Hunter. I genuinely do, but I can't yet. Let's just say there are things a-brewing. You know, there will be more Monster Hunter on these shores.
So,
but I can't tell you when, how, or any of the details yet.
So I guess the more important question or statement would be is that it's not hopeless for Monster Hunter fans.
Oh, not at all. By no means.
There's good things.
It's not if, it's when and how.
Interesting. So. Very cool. So here's one of the first questions off the bat. This is from Ezekiel. He says, any plans for DMC's 10th anniversary?
You know, it's funny. Somebody at the IGN interview that I did about 2 weeks ago also asked me that, and I don't have a good answer for that right now, candidly speaking. Certainly our licensing team is kicking up some promotions with some of our licensees. We have DMC coming. You know, we just released the trailer,
right.
the new trailer 2 days ago.
I love the trailer. I love the music. It
Speaking of which, that trailer has actually been nominated from multiple outlets for Best Trailer of Show.
Really?
So it's getting love. But I have nothing specific to talk about as far as anything else beyond DMC and some licensing stuff.
I guess here's excuse me real quick. My voice is starting to go after all this. So with DMC, you know, we've been showing all this off. We showed the gameplay in this trailer. When do you think we can actually expect to get our hands on it, to play it, and get a feel for it?
I would say you're going to see some live gameplay certainly before the end of the year. I'll leave it at that. And you know, I don't want to reveal sort of our total roadmap for what we're doing there.
That's understandable.
To keep some, but let's put it this way: we have two more big shows that, you know, you got Gamescom in Germany in August, and you have Tokyo Game Show in September, and you might have something a little bit later in the October timeframe as well, another event. Never know, but you know, I wouldn't be surprised if you see it playable or at least a lot more detail in one of those events.
Sounds good. So here's a question: Dragon's Dogma or Sur's Wrath? Any of them coming to PC?
Discussions are ongoing. You know, there's a challenge of how do we get it done, who does it.
Right.
You know, we don't have the bandwidth to handle it internally. We are having ongoing discussions about that, though, but nothing confirmed at this point.
So, here's one that we can probably talk about. Maybe, are we going to New York Comic-Con this year?
I believe we are. I'm trying to remember what the plan was, though.
I remember last year it was a blast. Like, we had a great booth, we had a great showing.
I am almost positive we are. You know, obviously we'll have a big presence at San Diego Comic-Con, and I'm pretty sure we will also be at New York Comic-Con.
So those of you guys watching from around our East Coast New York area, It sounds like there might be good things coming your way.
And obviously we'll also be at PAX.
PAX East,
well.
yeah?
I don't know about PAX East, but PAX Prime.
Well, West Coast then.
Yeah. Yeah, but Seattle, you know, so North, West Coast.
Northwest Coast, all right. PAX is always fun, though.
Yeah.
So, let's see. What are, if there is any, plans for the Megaman 25th anniversary?
Sorry, for Megaman?
A question that came by was Megaman's 25th anniversary.
There are plans. Again, there's a lot of licensing stuff going on to commemorate that. I can't talk about any game stuff at this point, but you know, there's the tricky part of, if I recall, the Mega Man anniversary is in December, if I recall. So it gets tricky for us to sort of figure out, okay, when do we actually, you know, we'd like to sort of start a year of celebration, but it gets a little tricky.
Which
for
year
how we
do you?
Yeah, exactly. So
I
think there's some timing issues there.
So, let's see. We can't really talk. So, for any of you asking about MVC3 DLC, we asked this question. I ask these guys this question all the time. The answer is right now there's no plans. So,
well, nothing for us to talk about right now.
Let's see. Oh, here's an odd one. I think we talked about it a little bit before. Are there any plans to revive Dino Crisis?
It comes up from time to time. I think it's something that the market would be receptive to with the right concept, but it's not anything that's in the works right now.
I don't think I've ever asked this one before. This is a good one. Are there any plans to continue the storyline past Street Fighter 3's story arc? That's
It is an interesting question.
Because 4 took place before 2, right? Or is it right after 2?
It's, I believe, right after 2,
okay.
Technically, but it's the continuity is lacking.
I don't know if the story's ever been the greatest part, but there's still a story.
No, there are people who care about the lore and the character interactions. It definitely gets weird between, the fact that we now have Street Fighter 3 characters in Super and Alpha characters in Super. That some of the chronology gets a bit odd. I would say, I think we'll have to see what the response to Street Fighter 3 Online Edition is to some degree. I think on its own merits, while Street Fighter 3 is an amazing game, I don't know that critically or commercially in the past it would sort of justify its own continuation, and especially as the path right now is very Street Fighter 4 driven in terms of market acceptance. But we'll see. I'll never say never. The thing I can say is we have a very robust plan for our fighting franchises, both existing, past, and maybe some new stuff in the future for the next several years planned out.
Wow.
Those plans are never set in stone. We make changes all the time, but our ambition is to continue a steady flow of things to keep fighting games fans happy.
Very cool. Well, so it sounds like good things for fighting game fans anyway.
Yeah. And Seth and I and Michael Pattison, our head of Penn Western marketing, have a lot of voice in what we do there. Ono-san and Natsuma-san are, the two primary producers working on fighting games for us, and they value our feedback, and our feedback comes from the fans. Really.
Right.
We're not geniuses ourselves, so the things that people are so happy about in Street Fighter 3 Online Edition, it's not like we just sort of scratched our head. It was, quite frankly, me going through forums all over the place and seeing what people were asking for. And
I see
saying,
you on your iPad all the time.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's do what they're asking for. It's not rocket science, but that feedback definitely gets fed right to the producers. So
see, it does matter.
Oh, it does, tons.
Okay, let's see.
Any plans for a God Hand remake?
That would be cool.
It would be. I think it would probably also be ill-advised from a commercial standpoint. So I suspect that would have a very hard time getting traction internally, even if there were some.
That was a Clover Studios game, wasn't it?
It was. It was one of Mikami's titles, and it an interesting game, not terribly well received by the market.
Let me refresh the chat. It's come to the point where on the final day, all my software is freezing on me. I was gonna play some trailers earlier.
The chat's giving out on you.
It's
that's something we built, right? That's not YouTube's chat. It's our chat. Oh, is it YouTube's chat? Oh, never mind. I lied.
I don't think it's actually YouTube freezing though. It's
our connection.
It's my computer just being like, please stop running me for 3 days straight.
Yeah.
Any news on Resident Evil Portable? That was a long time ago when we talked about it, I think. So
there is nothing I can share on RE Portable at this point in time.
All right.
Unfortunately. What's funny is you guys are asking me all the same questions that Jim Riley did for my IGN, and I have the same answer for Jim. Sorry.
It's all right. Let's see. Oh, here we go. This is a question we get quite a bit, but maybe you can talk a little bit about it. Are we hiring? And this was asking specifically about programmers. Do we do internships? Like, what hope do people
part
who
of
want to
the
work at Capcom
we
have
used
out
to
there?
have a very robust intern program.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, and then the state of California Department of Labor changed some of their regulations about how internships work, to the extent that how we used interns, which was really giving them hands-on experience,
Right.
and really working alongside our teams in product development, marketing, business development across the board. I mean, really giving them valuable experience has changed. It now has to be in sort of a classroom environment, and you can't actually have interns doing, let's call it, real work. And as such, we have phased out our intern program. And on the plus side, actually, some of our interns at the time became paid employees. They're still getting value, but it means that we were doing internships for college credit in association with some local colleges that we had, but unfortunately no more. They're saying the stream froze.
Let's see if it's still frozen for everybody. This is all recorded anyway, so if nothing else, we'll put it up afterwards. So
there's one. As far as hiring programmers, artists, etc., internally, unless you're in Japan or in Vancouver or in Toronto for our mobile team,
right? Probably
not. And not in the Bay Area anyway. The Bay Area, we hire producers, art directors, some business development and developer relations people. We have no in-house studio in San Mateo. So, Vancouver, though, is hiring. So that's Capcom Game Studio Vancouver, formerly Blue Castle. They did Dead Rising 2, and now Dead Rising 2 Off the Record is one of their projects. They are working on some other stuff that we can't talk about yet.
Of course.
But very talented studio. But beyond that, those are really sort of the key entry points. We are hiring from time to time. I am at this moment hiring for a associate director of mobile to run our mobile business in North America.
Wow.
So if you have experience in mobile business development, mobile marketing, and can speak Japanese and English, hit me up. Or if you know someone who does, I'm still seeking candidates.
Awesome. So it sounds like we're hiring all around.
Well, there are always positions open. The best way to check what positions are open and whether you're qualified for them or not is to check our careers page at Capcom.com. There's a jobs link there at the bottom that has all the active. I
think in the future, I want to try and integrate that with Capcom Unity too. Eventually.
I mean, literally, I was tempted to run look, I need somebody that can do this. Do you know anybody?
Come work for us.
Because the community is so great at just finding stuff or making stuff. I'm like, somebody's got to know somebody.
Yep.
So, but I mean, to be fair, what I'm asking for this position is a rare breed.
Yeah. So there's a question that went by. I didn't get to see who was asking it, but they were actually asking about the music in Street Fighter Cross Tekken, and if you could talk a little bit about who's behind that. I don't know if you know anything about it, but if you do,
I know very general things, and actually, if I once upon a time knew more, but the general points of the music for. I suspect we're using the same guy that handled the music for Street Fighter 4 and Super. And he's an outside composer and audio director. However, he used to be a Capcom internal guy.
Oh, really?
In the not so long ago. He went external a couple years ago, and
all right.
Has done most of the music actually in a lot of the games that we do fighting wise.
Very cool. So some of these questions are kind of long, and I'm trying to make sure we get them all. So, that one just went down.
So any plans for a Lost Planet 3? Lost Planet's one of our key brands. Lost Planet 2, I think, did a lot of things right. Some things not so right. And I think that, but I still think there's value in the brand, so I wouldn't be surprised to see it show up again. But nothing to talk about right now.
Awesome. I'd love to see another one.
Yep, me too.
It is how I got my job, after all.
Yep. So somebody asking, are you putting any games on the Wii U?
That is a good question.
It's a great question.
I asked you this earlier, so
And-
I guess I just sort of ignored it.
You
I
know,
didn't mean to.
my bog standard answer for this is we're a multi-platform company. New hardware is exciting. I have nothing to talk about right now, but anything that allows our creators to express themselves and bring their visions to life in interesting ways, we're supportive of. So, stay tuned. Who's better at Street Fighter, me or Snow?
Definitely you.
I would bet. Yes.
I am the Monster Hunter Lost Planet
and
guy.
I am not good, but I bet I am better than you.
I bet you. I'm pretty sure most people here are better than me at Street Fighter. I'm terrible at fighting games, unless you consider consider Smash Brothers Melee a fighting game.
Oh, it's a fighting game.
That's more my style.
Okay.
I know I'm lame. So let's see. I did see a question. I think we talked a little bit about it, but maybe you could address it just for this chat. They were asking about Street Fighter 3 Third Strike Online Edition for PC. So is there any chance of that happening?
You know, we haven't. It's not in the plan right now, but I haven't ruled it out. You know, the challenge is, you know, candidly, there's, you know, I'm a bit concerned because a lot of people have been playing pirated emulated versions for so long. I'm not sure if there's a market that's willing to pay necessarily. You know, we were mulling over PC at the outset, but between schedule and just scope of the project, and as you can see, it's a pretty sizable project in terms of all the bells and whistles that it has. You know, it's worrying. You know, I see somebody saying that GGPO supports illegal emulation of Street Fighter 3 on PC. It doesn't really. It provides technically a network solution for those who theoretically have a legal ROM.
Okay.
So to say that it actually supports that, I think would be a bit overstepping some bounds. At the same time, you know, very obviously there aren't that many people with Street Fighter 3 ROMs out there legitimately playing.
Right.
So, you know, I get it, but the answer is this. GGPO today is the best networking technology that I'm aware of for fighting games, which is why we selected it.
So, with that said, someone's asking, will GGPO be used for Street Fighter Cross Tekken?
Can't talk about that right now.
Okay.
Ono has some things to say about that at some point further down the line, but nothing for me to talk about right now. Not GGPO specifically, but about networking specifically.
So, there's lots of Monster Hunter questions. We did talk about one, but there's one that came up that I think that's worth mentioning. Sorry, I didn't get your name as you were asking. But they're asking, in the future, will Monster Hunter move to a more powerful engine like MG Framework, like we see used in Dragon? Well, I can't remember if this is using it or not. But
yes,
like
it
Lost
is.
Planet
Dragon's Dogma's using MT Framework.
Okay. But is there a chance for that to happen in the future?
There's a chance. I mean, there's.
The team uses
there's
currently their own engine, right?
Correct. Correct. It's you know, when and if it were to come to, let's just say, more powerful platforms than it has been, assuming it does, I would not be surprised if it's using unified tech tools and pipeline that, you know, we've used elsewhere. It would kind of be silly not to.
Yeah.
You know, but that's. Again, I want to make clear, I'm not saying that it's coming to any of those platforms, lest somebody jump to the wrong conclusions. So.
Ooh, Megaman Powered Up 2. Any chance of that?
There's always a chance, but there's nothing happening on that front right now. I wouldn't mind seeing it. I love Powered Up. Big fan. And it sold relatively well, so, you know, not bad. There were recent rumors of RE6 being announced soon. Any word about it? You know, between that, DMC HD collection, there's a lot of rumors and speculation. Yeah. You know, they're just rumors. I have nothing to say about either one of those to confirm or deny them. You know, but right now there are no announcements on either of those fronts.
Let's see. There's a lot. Sorry, guys. It's moving really fast.
The thread's moving fast.
And there's long questions, so we're trying to grab them as they go by.
So somebody's asking a question about GGPO and upcoming Capcom titles besides Third Strike.
Yeah.
I sort of sidestepped the Tekken Cross Street Fighter question. Similar question I answered on the Ask Capcom forums. And the answer is it's really case by case. Certainly Seth and I are pushing for GGPO to be in as many titles as we possibly can. And we are evangelizing and have been for years with relevant producers. At the end of the day, it's the producer's call. And it also means that there's design decisions at the outset of the project and design considerations at the outset of the project that need to be made in order for that to happen. It's not as simple as, drop up this bit of code, cut and paste it over here, and you have GGPO. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
It really requires, both from a memory management standpoint, a CPU processing standpoint, and a tracking of game state standpoint, a good understanding of the nuts and bolts of the game state,
right?
For that to actually take effect. So, and the other part of this is, people are saying, well, wow, Street Fighter 4 or Super Street Fighter 4 had all these features. Why didn't MVC3 have them? Again, there is no just pick up this piece of code and drop it over here and it would have the same features. It's entirely different. There's not a lot of reusable code between the two, so it is to some degree starting at over again a lot. Any new fighting games for the Wii? Nothing that we've announced at this point. Sorry about that.
Here's another question that gets asked a lot. Any news for Ace Attorney or Layton versus Phoenix Wright?
Layton Phoenix is largely being led by Level 5.
Okay.
So I have to wait for them to say something about that. With Ace Attorney in general, I suspect you haven't seen the last of the Ace Attorney series by any stretch. And I'm going to have to ask everybody to stay tuned on that front too. A lot of stay tunes. I'm sorry. I wish I had some better answers to give. But everyone's asking for stuff that we haven't.
Don't they always
announce? So
all the good questions are the ones we can't answer.
Yeah, I know.
Let's see. Will you do a poll for DLC custom ideas on Capcom Unity? We had the fan run poll for Marvel DLC a while ago.
Yep. But that was for characters. Is that what we did?
I think it was for characters.
Yeah, but that was also an unofficial poll.
It was a fan run
done by fans. Right. But we did look very carefully at that. I will say that.
So is there any chance that we'll do something like that on Unity then, or?
And the question is costumes for what game? What are we talking about?
I don't know. I'm assuming they meant Cross Tekken, but I'm not sure.
I don't know. I mean, that's far enough off that we could, and certainly Ono-san would probably be receptive to that.
Then I guess that'll be me to take care of it.
Well, get on that then.
All right, I will. So thank you for the idea. Okay. Oh, he meant Street Fighter. So.
Oh, I'm sorry. What are we doing on Street Fighter?
He meant Street Fighter when he was talking about the costumes.
Okay.
So.
What year will Street Fighter vs. MK release? There's nothing in the works right now, so
that sounds like a trick question.
I can't really say. The team is focused right now on Street Fighter Cross Tekken, and can't say more than that. So, are you guys still considering the petition for a new Darkstalkers? Same answer for Darkstalkers, Power Stone, Rival Schools. We have plans for a very robust, same as before, very robust fighting roadmap for the next several years. Some of those are obviously Street Fighter related. Some of those are other franchise related. Can't say anything beyond that. Any renewal plans for Capcom versus SNK? Unfortunately, nothing in progress right now, no.
So this came up a little bit a little bit ago, someone had asked if we'd like to see Capcom characters in the newly teased Smash games that Nintendo had teased about.
I would love to, frankly. I don't know what conversations would be had. I suspect Nintendo would have to ask us if they want to use our characters. It's their game, but I'd love to see that happen. I'd love to see, as everyone will say, a Megaman in Smash Brothers. Makes sense to me.
It would be cool.
But it's not our place to say what goes in Nintendo's game.
Yeah. So how much time do you think you have left?
I got about another 5 minutes, and I got to run off to my next meeting.
All right. So make your questions good, guys. We're still looking. Let's see.
Why does Capcom allow horrible Street Fighter movies to go to theaters? Far be it for me to defend some of our motion picture efforts, but to be fair, it's not 100% within our 100% within our control. We have licensed our properties in some cases to various studios and production houses, and we approve scripts, we approve certain things that we have approval over, and at that point we kind of help them where we can, but at that point it's largely in their hands to execute well. I think that you will see some, and we're pushing for some things that are more fan enjoyable, let's say, particularly when it comes to Street Fighter and some live action stuff that was done. Street Fighter Legacy, I think, did a really good job of doing stuff in just sort of a short webisode approach, and we're talking about, some other things like that internally with our licensing team. Any update on bringing Cyberbots to the West? I believe Cyberbots is on PSN. It's a PS1 re-release.
It is?
In Japan.
I've never even heard of this.
We are trying to bring that over to the US. We're working on it.
What is Cyberbots?
It's you'll have to ask Seth. It's a fighting game featuring robots. And Seth, at one point in time, was the best player in the world at Cyberbots. It was a very small
I swear, I learned something new about Seth all the time.
He is one of the best Cyberbots players ever.
All right.
Well, Strider 1, PS1 ever come, which was actually Strider 2, come to PSN. I doubt it would pass an IP sweep. Just a guess, but I can't rule it out. It hasn't been high on our priority list. There have been other things that have been much higher on our priority list. What else?
Sounds like we got enough time for about one more question.
Yeah.
You'll have to pick a good one.
Yeah.
There's a lot going by.
There are, and they're good questions. And to be fair, some of the questions that I see there that I am ignoring are things that it's just my answer would be, sorry, nothing to talk about. Thank you for taking anniversary collections. Sure, you can. When are we seeing DMC again? I kind of answered that a little bit earlier. I answered the Lost Planet 3 question earlier, dude. Let's see. Any fan events coming up? Actually, that's a great question for you.
The answer is yes. Always yes. And one of the ones that we talked about at E3, we officially got to announce that for Europe, if you guys are in Europe, there are, for the first time ever, going to be fight clubs. And I believe they have 7, they announced, planned for Europe. And that's going to be really cool. Like, I'm really excited that that's something I see on Unity all the time. We do events all year round. So if you're in North America, or in the US, and you're looking for events, we do them all the time.
Yeah.
But if you're in Europe, everyone always asks, why don't you do more in Europe? And the answer is now we are.
Well, our really European team has heard you. They've also seen how successful our events have been.
They're also a lot smaller as far as teams go than we are, so it's harder to do.
They have a lot fewer resources, and the other part is Europe is challenging because it's so many countries. Don't get me wrong, a similar sort of geographic size, but it's difficult to sort of operate in as many countries as they do. And we have offices in Hamburg, Paris, and London, but it's there's still small teams in each of those locations, so they're spread pretty thin. But they're going to do it. They're stepping up.
It's going to be good. If you guys actually want to see more about it, look on Capcom-Unity.com tomorrow. I'm going to have that interview recorded and rewatchable for you guys, so you can see all the details there. But anyway.
Alrighty, guys. Well, thank you.
Christian, thank you for hopping on. Appreciate it.
Always a pleasure. And we'll do this again in a couple weeks.
Yeah, definitely.
2 weeks.
So if you guys are, if you're new to our stream or Ask Capcom in general, we talk to Christian every couple weeks where he answers your questions live. So stay tuned. And
failing that, check out the Ask Capcom forum on our forums. I post there regularly. I have closing in on, I think, 8,000 posts.
And I always see you on your iPad going through.
Hey, I care what our fans think. I care what they tell me.
All right. See you guys.
Bye-bye, guys.